Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. In the evenings on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. In the nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW. And, of course, on Blue Amp Media at blueamp.co on Substack. It is the Matt McNeil Show here for your Friday. Nice to have you here with us today. Matt and Brett here today. Brett, we're hoping we'll have the camera up here working here. I don't know how.
It's a little blurry, kind of like you're in the witness protection program a little bit on there right now.
Oh, I got good news for you. The camera we prefer. There we go. Oh, there we go. Maybe we'll do it. We'll go with that. There we are. Hopefully that is working. We are going to make an appeal right now in case Bruce Springsteen is somewhere in the Twin Cities metro area and can hear us. Hey, Bruce. You probably flew into Flying Cloud Airport, which is right down the street from this radio station. As a matter of fact, you probably have to drive right past the station to get to the airport. Hey, why don't you swing on in? That would be called a get. I'd love to interview you about the new song, Streets of Minneapolis. Anything else you want to talk about? Hey, my show is open to you right there on the intersection of 212 and Valley View Road. Swing on in, Bruce. We'd love to have you. And if we don't get Bruce, we do have Cliff Schechter actually going to be kind enough to join us here, coming up here in about a half an hour. He wanted to make sure he talked a little bit about in regards to the world that is out there with the arrest of the journalist, and I'll get to all that here in a little bit. I do have to start off, and once again, I mean, obviously a lot of things to talk about here in Minneapolis today with what's going on here. I will get to a lot of that stuff a little bit later on, but I do have to start with the absolutely heartbreaking news of the loss of Catherine O'Hara. She was, wow. I remember watching her on SCTV as a kid. She was so good. Of course, most people remember her as well, probably from either one of two things, Home Alone, or else from Schitt's Creek, which was a fantastic TV show. And, she was fantastic. She died of a brief illness, not known what illness she had. She died at the age of 71 in Los Angeles. Of course, the best in show too. I mean, those were fantastic. She worked with Christopher Guest on a lot of those things. She starred, of course, in Beetlejuice and reprised the role on that one as well. Played, of course, Home Alone, was known for that one. She recently appeared at Macaulay Culkin's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony, wiping away tears as she praised him. She's just such a good, just a comedic actress, and she just understood it so much better than anyone else really has. I saw this, and my wife and I mean, the Folded In episode. Have you ever seen that episode? The Folded In, David. Folded In, David. Did you ever see that?
Not that one.
Oh,
no.
God. The pure terror on both of their faces as they get to that point in the recipe and they don't know what folding is. It's just folded in. Oh, that one hurts. So I wanted to mention that because, yeah, it is, it's obviously my attention here is focused a lot more on the chaos in the streets, courtesy of ICE and the fascism creeping in America, which we are got the front row seat for. There are a lot of other things going on, which is why I am not going to bury what I consider to be the lead today, and that is the release of more of the Epstein files. Or I should say the partial release of some of the Epstein files, because clearly I don't think they really understood what they released and quickly pulled some of them back, but oopsie, they were saved. And when I read some of the stuff that Trump was allegedly involved with, I want to make sure we understand. If anyone, myself, Brett, anyone else here that is listening to me had allegations like these that have been made against Trump over and over and over and over again. If we had one of these allegations, that would be the end of us. That would be we would be fired, we'd be arrested, we'd be charged, and that would be it. Yet Trump has hundreds of these allegations against him, including one which I'm going to get into, which is insanely heinous and horrible on a lot of levels. That would be the end, which should be the end of him. Absolutely. Justice Department released at least 3 million pages of documents in the Epstein files, which contain more details about correspondence between Epstein and other high-profile individuals, such as Elon Musk and Andrew Windsor, the former royalty. One email exchange from 2013 showed Musk and Epstein coordinating a time for the tech CEO to visit Little St. James, Epstein Island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. It's unclear if the visit ever materialized. Another email exchange seemed to reveal that Andrew went by the nickname of the Invisible Man, being named in the Epstein files. I mean, I think this is the Guardian I got this from, does not mean the person is accused of wrongdoing and participated in Epstein's crimes or even knew of them. Trump and former Fred Epstein is mentioned in the files, but has denied any wrongdoing. Now, I'm going to say very clearly, there is an insane amount of redaction in this, clearly covering this up. And I talked about this last year, they had an emergency meeting which got leaked, that the meeting happened, of Pam Bondi, J.D. Vance, and the White House Chief of Staff. And they basically had a dinner together because this was so bad, they needed to do a strategy session of how they were going to deal with this. And it is atrocious. I mean, it is beyond, anything that you can imagine. So I'm going to read this segment, this part of the Epstein files, which was released and once again was pulled back by Todd Blanche very quickly when people started asking questions about this one. And I want to ask you to see if anyone you knew was ever accused of anything of this magnitude, what would happen to that individual? They would be gone. I mean, just out of, until they can get this resolved, we would say, okay, enough's enough. Donald Trump, the president, had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in, and Trump would auction them off. I can't say the next line of this, what Trump did to these children. It involved him gauging a certain part of their body. How about I say it and I mean that alone? Yeah, exactly. So he would gauge them for the auction, specifically focusing on a certain element of these children's bodies. In attendance included Elon Musk, Don Jr., Trump, Ivanka, Eric Trump, attorney Alan Dershowitz was also there. Attorney Bob Shapiro was also there. The kids were then taken into rooms, forced to give oral sex to Trump, forced to allow them to rape them. The person making this claim was 13 years old when Trump did this to them. 13. Ghislaine Maxwell was also present. This is why Ghislaine now is getting moved to, cushy country club jails now, because they want her to keep her quiet. He did this with Don Jr., Eric, and Ivanka present to these children. I mean, obviously, they're all messed up, clearly. But what kind of monster does something like this in front of his own children. What kind of monster does something like this? I'm sure every Republican is going to say, well, I didn't see that. I don't know what you're referring to. Donald Trump has my full support, but don't ask me about any specifics about Donald Trump. He publicly violated these children as a enticement for an auction at Mar-a-Lago with his own children in attendance, and then raped them, and then raped the children. There's another element. Once again, all this got pulled back when people started asking questions about what? Because once again, there's just so many files. They're trying to release them, and they're trying to clearly wipe Trump's name clear of all this stuff, but they're missing stuff, and that's causing them to say, well, how come no one got this one? Another case where a woman told the story of Donald Trump. She was present when Donald Trump demanded a child deliver oral sex to him, and when she made a mistake, he slapped the child that he was raping. Slapped them when he was raping them, after he was raping them, or during what? Come on, guys. And this is on top of the mountains of other evidence against him. And yet you all, Christians, stand by this? Stand with this? This is one of the most disturbing things I have ever read. And this is your orange God, Republicans. This, the man who is unleashing fascism on America and trying to steal elections courtesy of Atlanta and Fulton County. The more you ignore that because you say, I trust him and I respect him. And then we hear stories like this, and you stand by this because he makes Democrat. He owns the libs, Matt. He owns the libs. He's a rapist. He's a child rapist. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Are you planning a gathering for your family, friends, or work? Then reserve space at the Park Tavern. The Park Tavern offers private and semi-private spaces, and they can accommodate any size party, large or small. They have bowling, food, and beverage packages for any budget. And remember, there are no room fees and no minimum spending requirements. And for more information or to schedule an event, call 952-929-6810 or go to parktavern.net. Make your next get-together the best get-together with help from the Park Tavern.
I am the amazing Cassandra, a mechanical fortune teller who can predict the exact date and time of your passing. But 5 teenagers have died, and I alone have the power to save them if they can pass my test of song. Their musical trials begin January 16th at Lyric Arts Theater in Anoka. Ride the cyclone along with them at lyricarts.org.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, our job is to help you find a place for fire. Our displays include over 180 models in diverse styles, and we have over 35 burning displays. Come and experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Some say there are only 2 seasons in Minnesota, road construction and winter. Hi, this is Laura, and I agree there are 2 seasons in Minnesota, summer and fireplace season. I bought my wood stove for Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces in 2005, and every season after summer comes the time when we fire up the wood stove, get out our favorite music, and discover the warmth of fire. Our dog Pumpkin remembers the fire too. He stations himself right there, legs up in the air, just enjoying the warmth of the fire. With the wood stove, we are able to keep the main area of the house toasty warm, while the thermostat that is set at an energy efficient 64 degrees. Discover your fireplace season. Visit Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces today.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Next Chapter Booksellers is the perfect destination for indoor winter activities. Cozy up with a book. They have all the bestsellers and new releases. Plus, their booksellers are great at making recommendations. Beyond books, enjoy mind-bending puzzles and family fun board games for those snowy days. And don't miss Next Chapter's in-store events, book clubs, author signings, and children's story time. So stay busy this winter with Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. This is okay. I mean, they're clearly covering up a massive child sex ring at this point, and Trump was one of the primary ringleaders of this child sex ring. Now, I will, although you have people like, Elon Musk and Peter Thiel get mentioned here, I will be a little hesitant to, I'll buy the Guardian's mulligan. Hey, we're not quite sure if this happened. You can't necessarily say they did. Fine. But I mean, at this point, how many people have to have insanely disturbing stories of Trump's behavior with underage children before you start saying to yourself, yeah, maybe this 500-time loser isn't really the hero I've made him out to be? I mean, I want you just, that one story alone should be the end of him. I mean, you had, up until Trump, you had a pretty strict standard that if you were caught having an affair with somebody your own age, you basically were done in politics. Trump comes on out, talks about raping a married woman, grab him by the, and you guys, isn't he the best? They even send Melania out to do the locker room talk excuse. Remember that? I remember that. Wow. And he himself bragged about busting into the Miss Teen USA cat pageant because sometimes you don't see him with clothes on. You guys, I would say you guys need to wake up to the fact that he's Biff Tannen, but Biff Tannen would have been like, okay, I don't want anything to do with this guy. That's how bad he is. And there is this whole argument, this whole thing about, well, he, it's allegations, it's all this. Come on. Why do you think all these pages are being redacted? Not because he's a fringe member of Jeffrey Epstein's circle. I want to report the last time they dropped documents, Jeffrey Epstein had framed photos of him on his office desk. Framed photos of him on his office desk. And you guys just keep making excuse after excuse after excuse. If we learn about information that evidence allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will. You guys and I'm going to get with Schechter here in a second. You guys are about to arrested journalists for covering a mild delay in a church service, a mild one. And you guys went ballistic. You guys went nutsoid. But here you have what is some of the most disturbing allegations of the sitting president raping children, violating them publicly as he sells underage girls off to the highest bidder. And then basically, because he feels as he has the right, he's the king, he violates them before he sends them off to the people who bought the children in front of his own kids. And you want that guy making any decisions for this country. Even this allegation, even if you just want to believe, sure, the first 700 people that accused him of crimes were all lying. Maybe this guy, the 701st might be the first one, I believe. Shame on all of you. This is not a fool me once, shame on me, fool you, shame on you. I mean, well, you remember, W. Don't be fooled again. That's still one of the best quotes from that idiot. But you guys, there comes a point where any feigned outrage you guys are going to have when the truth comes out about how I never heard anything about this. That's just bull, because even Fox News and stuff have covered this stuff. You just chose not to. You chose to allow the man who violated children to be your leader because, as you heard Democrats say, are you kidding me? You thought that was fear. No, it was repulsion. That was embarrassment. Trump's name, even though they redacted the living daylights out of things and pulled things off as soon as people realized, we probably didn't want that to get out, still appears 3,000 times in the Epstein files. 3,000 times. To my knowledge, my name's not there. Brett, is your name there at all?
Mine's not.
Okay, so this whole idea, is anyone, is Catherine O'Hara, Bruce Springsteen, people like this. These are names in this. None of their names show up in this. His name is there 3,000 times. Don't try to play this off as just, people getting mentioned and stuff. For God's sakes, no. He's a child rapist, for God, and he coordinated and organized this with Jeffrey Epstein. For goodness sakes. Appears 3,009. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche insisting there is no new evidence that could satisfy people. No, there's plenty of evidence there that he should be done, and you just don't. Yeah. It reportedly scrubbed numerous files relating to Epstein from its website after Deputy Attorney Blanche announced the release of the $3 million. Some of them, the documents containing Trump's name, were hard to read. Those documents then were unavailable. They know. Todd Blanche knows. Pam Bondi knows. Kash Patel knows. Tulsi Gabbard knows. Melania knows. Don Jr. and Eric and Ivanka clearly know. They all know. They've all enabled a child rapist to become one of the most powerful people on the planet. To have the nuclear codes, to set the economy, to put policy in place, to order his goon thugs into the streets of Minneapolis to abuse the citizens. This is your great God. I don't look at Donald Trump and say, oh my God, because I'm afraid of him. I say, oh my God, because I look at you, his supporters, and say, what in the flying F is wrong with you people? Why would you ever snuggle up to the child rapist? Why? But yet for you, it's they're lying too, and they're lying too, and they're lying. We're just owning the libs. At the cost of your souls, at the cost of your dignity, of your religion, of your morality. You guys are just a bunch of pathetic hollow shells of humans at this point. Schechter, when we come back, it's the Matt McNeil Show.
It's Brad Friedman, your friendly investigative blogger, journalist, and host of the Bradcast on AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
There really is no place like home. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Home Health. When you're faced with an illness or an injury, being able to stay at home and receive care is important. Our home health offers a wide range of services, including skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapies, aides, homemakers, in-home respite care, and 24/7 live-in care. We'll work closely with your primary care provider to come up with an individualized plan for you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been telling you about my friends at Snap Construction, who are arguably the most well-reviewed exterior construction company in the metro. Don't just take my word for it. Take a look at all their reviews online. Winter is the most cost-effective time of the year to complete your construction project. A majority of Minnesotans choose to have their work completed on their home in the summer when they should be enjoying the weather. As a result, the demand for labor in the summer is much higher. The most cost-effective way to improve or restore your home is in the winter due to the lower demand. Right now, Snap Construction is offering an additional 30% off of labor to the AM 950 listeners on your next construction project between now and the end of February. Call 612-333-SNAP and mention AM 950 for an additional 30% off. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
Hey, this is Andy Otto, Executive Director of Twin Cities Pride and your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified. Our community needs your help. Twin Cities Pride is collecting donations to help our local community in need. We're collecting everything from shelf-stable food to household cleaning supplies, infant care items, and personal care products at our Pride Cultural Arts Center. If you're looking to help, reach out to us at info@tcpride.org or just stop by 1201 Harmon Place in Minneapolis. It's our time to take care of our community and take care of each other all year long.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 10, tonight clear with a low of 3 below, and Saturday sunny with a high around 17. Discover the pizza and wine bar at Cafe Latte. It features an extensive menu of gourmet pizzas paired perfectly with an approachable wine list of more than 30 selections by the glass. Quality is key, so you'll never find artificial additives. Find Cafe Latte off Victoria and Grand or more at cafelatte.com.
Broadcasting in the evenings in Chicago, WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW, BAM, Blue Amp Media, blueamp.co on Substack, and of course on YouTube, and all these other Twitch. Do I have a Twitch? I don't, but Cliff Schechter does, and so we're there. And of course on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, it is the Matt McNeil Show. Cliff Schechter is kind enough to join us. Of course, the Grand Poobah over at Blue Amp. I will say this, though, Cliff, as much as I love you, Bruce Springsteen is in town right now, and his airport is right down the street from us. So if Bruce Springsteen swings on by and decides to come in, I'm dumping you, man. I'm going with Springsteen.
I'd be angry at you if you didn't, dude. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, come on.
I mean,
There's an order of operations in life, and whatever that is, Bruce Springsteen is at least 47,000 levels above me, and I'm okay with that.
But you and I would both be like, I would not get rid of you. We'd be like, okay, we're going to talk with Bruce Springsteen. That would be amazing.
I just wrote a piece about him. Actually, we're going to send it out in one of these sort of newsletters. We were going to do it today until all this happened, but about him and how his protest music evolved over time. You know, it started talking a lot about working white men and evolved to issues also of war and peace and racial justice. And I think that's as he got out in the world more, and his heart was in the right place. And then as he saw more injustices beyond the factories being, sent abroad so a couple of rich jerks could pocket all the money. He started speaking about those other issues too. So yes, I will run up to you and go, I don't care how much it takes, and I will get there to see Bruce Springsteen if that's what happens. So
Valley View and 212 there, Bruce, as your way to the airport. We can also point you to where you want to get a cup of coffee on the way too, if you need to. You can swing on in. We'll do the Phil Donahue special guest coming on in. By the way, Murder Incorporated is one of my favorite songs ever. That is an amazing song.
Or maybe I could just ride sort of like with a saddle and everything. Nothing gross here, but Greg Bovino, he's about the size of like a small sort of like a dog sled. I could maybe attach that to Greg Bovino's back and let him pull me up there from down here, something like that.
Well, remember, Gimli said short people are wasted on cross country. So I mean, I think that we could take more life lessons from Lord of the Rings.
I think Greg Bovino's wasted on humanity would be a good way to put it.
You have the reason you're joining us because you have a piece out right now in regards to what happened today. And it should be noted, and I'll give a quick little synopsis of the news of this. The independent journalists Don Lemon and Georgia Fort were arrested by basically Pam Bondi because they could not find anyone in the Minneapolis U.S. Attorney's Office or even the L.A. Attorney's Office that would file the charges against them for covering what was a protest which delayed a church service for approximately 5 to 10 minutes. Still plenty of time for the church to pass the collection plate, but still they said that this is the greatest crime in the history of mankind, a church service getting delayed, while, by the way, they have gunned down 2 devout Christians in the streets of Minneapolis. But that aside, for the time being, they basically have arrested these journalists and other people involved. And now, obviously, we're talking a fairly serious war on the First Amendment. I mean, once again, they did not participate in the protest. They just covered the protest, and yet they're being arrested. But you bring up a letter here that talks a little bit more about not just them, but the other people that are getting arrested here as well.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll just start with saying, I mean, it's another reminder when Pam Bondi does this because 2 judges rejected their request for them to be able to bring charges. So they are breaking the law even by arresting them, for which they won't pay a price, most likely. They're criminals. And it's like the stupidest, most doltish, most criminal, most like hygiene challenged, most annoying, in Greg Bovino's case, most freaking gnome-like, just the worst people in the world are the ones who run everything under Trump, because again, he's the worst person in the world and he can only surround himself with his ilk. I mean, they're just, so no one else would bring charges because other people have at least some shred of integrity. Pam Bondi's an idiot and has nothing. But what I wrote about, and I just think this is so important when I saw this, look, yes, absolutely, hugely important. A journalist being arrested is terrible. It's happened before. Oh, by the way, it happened during Trump's first term a few times. It's also happened during his second term. This is a very bad, I mean, the precedent obviously is awful. But nobody, it's probably because Don Lemon has the most famous name. And so everyone's talking about him, but people aren't talking about a guy running for state senator was arrested. And I think what people aren't getting here is when you start adding all this up, it's obvious what this is. This is a dress rehearsal for stealing an election. Donald Trump has never gotten over the 2020 election. He can't get over the 2020 election. We have him on tape asking a Secretary of State of Georgia for 12,000 votes. Yeah. We know that the various people he sent, like Giuliani, off to go to the where was it, Pennsylvania, Michigan, to go sit in the legislative chamber and fart, audibly, and that was the only noise that made sense, I think, that he made to try to steal the election, and it didn't work. People were actually charged and found guilty, convicted of this, like the former traffic lawyer, what's her name? I can't even remember her name anymore, from Colorado.
Oh God, yeah.
That was there with Rudy. I mean, they engaged in this illegal activity. So this is his MO. He tries to steal elections. He can't stand losing. So when you it's so obvious that he's done all of this before, that Jack Smith said he was, quote, most responsible for what happened on January 6th, trying to overthrow our election. And now Pam Bondi, the utter moron. I mean, how dumb these people are, is just that she says, okay, we'll get ICE out of here if you give us your voter rolls, all the secret information. They're giving it away. They're telling you what they want. So in the end, how when a state senator is a guy who's running for state senate, is arrested, and he may now not be able to run. I don't know if he can get, because I guess is it February 3rd or something?
Well, what I'll say is this. Okay, so Minnesota has a caucus. That's February 3rd. But we also have, that is more of a symbolic caucus, but it still is, that this idea. And it should be noted, these are people, minorities. They're not, they are definitely going after a black.
Well, they're all black, yes. Yeah. And go ahead. Sorry.
Well, and I was just going to say, so they had the caucus comes up here, but it's non-binding because there was concerns about and I think primarily of whether or not conservatives were infiltrating them, and so we do now have the primary is the official act, but still this is the way you get the caucus nomination, and it gives you a big step up when it comes to the primaries. And so the fact that they are going after these politicians, as you said, I mean, the journalists are bad enough.
Interfering with the electoral process. It's a Democrat. They're Republicans. Thank you again for not wanting any appearance of impropriety, Merrick Garland. That really helped us all out a lot. But so they have, of course, no problem or no compunction when it comes to arresting someone on false charges when two judges told them they couldn't, who's a Democrat running for state senate. Does anybody think, just a thought exercise, because so many people kept saying to people like me and people like you and others, you're crazy. You think Trump's going to do that? And now, like, he's done all of those things we were crazy for thinking he's going to do. Yeah. Anybody sitting here, and this is where I want to hear a plan from Democrats, from national security experts, from whatever, anyone who thinks that he will not try to, in various ways, to undo any results of this coming election, where if everyone voted and were able to vote, he would overwhelmingly be rebuked. He's the most unpopular president of all time right now. He's at 34%. What ICE is doing is a negative 60, like 64% of the people are against it. He'd get crushed. We saw what happened in Miami, where we hadn't won the mayoralty, I think, since like the Bill of Rights came out, and we just ended up winning by 20 points. He knows he's going to get crushed. They know they're going to get crushed. So they know if they can intimidate people so they don't show up at the polls, if they can go and call them terrorists and arrest them. I mean, and again, thought exercise right here. We elect what ends up being the 51st Democratic senator from whichever state. Pick whatever your state you want.
Minnesota.
I'm sorry?
Minnesota.
There you go, from Minnesota. Do you think for a second they won't go and find an excuse to arrest that person? He is not going to allow us to take power because he knows what happens if we take power. And I'm so tired of people not talking about this. It is right there in front of you. He has illegally tried to steal elections for years. They have told you what they're doing in Minneapolis. So I don't understand how this isn't for 5 alarm or 400 alarm fire for anybody in cybersecurity, anyone in regular security, frankly, our military and former military. We could, especially former, we could use a little bit of an assist. A few of them have spoken out a bit, but I mean, I don't want in general the military involved in my politics. I would rather not, but we're at a break glass in case of emergency moment here. And right now, we need people that are willing to stand up and say that they will not let Donald Trump steal the next election, which he has every intention of doing. It has been made obvious.
You are insanely smart, proving it once again with this, and I'll back you up here with the whole thing in Fulton County. Why the hell was Tulsi Gabbard there? Yep. Once again, the Russian agent that is now in charge of our national intelligence. This was, this has once again already been decided. No, Georgia wasn't fraudulent. This is about trying to create the justification to take Atlanta off the map in regards to the election. And I've also said multiple times, my gut feeling is going to be the Supreme Court will say, well, we're going to hold up the results of the 2026 election and we'll slow walk this. And then the day after the 2027 off-year election, they'll say, oh, Donald Trump should have done this, but we're not going to go backwards. We'll just have a new election in 2028. And then Donald Trump will resign after that election and will never be held accountable. It is, as you said, this is about Trump's fear of ever being held accountable. And they've actually tried to set up a system in place to where he can get out scot-free without ever having to face any accountability. And my God, when you look at some of the stuff that came out, as I mentioned earlier, in the Epstein file drop today, the man clearly should face some level of.
Oh my God. And again, like you're absolutely, I mean, yes, all the people that rant of yours was awesome. Hey, we may have to grab it and put it on our channel. I mean, you know, a child rapist. I mean, someone that spent their time with, I mean, it's insane. And that they enabled this, that they were okay with it. These just awful people who clearly have no sense of anything in life. Nothing matters but their power. Nothing's important. They'd throw their families all over, you know, the side of a boat, you know, into shark infested waters if they would move up a level on the ladder, you know, in Trump's government. They're just all so gross and despicable. And again, like he's doing this, he's making it obvious. And the problem now is, look, he's been enabled by so many people. How many people were at those Willard Hotel meetings? Members of Congress who've never been held accountable. Kash Patel, who was never held accountable. Ginny Thomas. And then we start getting to the Supreme Court. Oh, you know, John Roberts' wife just magically made $12 million as a consultant for law firms with business in front of the court. You know, Alito. Oh, well, nobody was taking those seats to Rome that are first class and $100,000 or whatever. I'll take them. And let's not even get into Clarence Thomas and Gorsuch's land deals. I mean, I think they all know they're vulnerable too. I mean, they're a bunch of criminals sitting on our Supreme Court. There are a bunch of criminals sitting on our. I mean, Jim Jordan and Comer and this group of clowns. I mean, there's probably a million different reasons they could go to prison. So now they've all enabled Trump. They've all helped him in his criminal behavior. And so they have to all fight to cover it up, because if they don't, they'll be held. If he's gone and there's an actual real Truth and Reconciliation Committee, they'll be held responsible too. And so that is the problem we have, is that there's so many of them who have been involved in all sorts of illegality and corruption and you know, every other despicable thing that Trump has done. And that's what we're living with.
Well, and it should mention that, you know, this is why I'm very concerned about all the redacted pages in the Epstein files, is because, you know, you think that some of these people are not involved on that level. I mean, I think that there's a rotten stink to the core of the Republican Party right now that has been taken over by some really horrible human beings. And now everything is about making sure that they can hold off the inevitable till the last possible.
Yeah, you're right. And the only problem I ever have with folks, when they try to make it like it's all about Trump, you know, Mitch McConnell paved the path. Mitch McConnell took a democracy, a Senate that was functioning, and decided he'd break it apart by fighting against his own party, John McCain, and undoing McCain-Feingold, and then fighting further to get rid of all campaign finance reform, so foreign money and all sorts of big corporate money could find its way in our elections. And this is where we are.
Yep. We are stuck once again. You, of course, have the brilliant world of Blue Amp.
You and your breaks.
I'm my terrestrial radio world. We will take a break. Come on back. More with Cliff Schechter and Blue Amp Media. When we do return, it is the Matt McNeil Show.
And I tried to fight, and I tried to hold on.
Hey, Chanhassen and Eden Prairie. It's Alex with Buzz Cut Mowing. Why wake up early, freeze, and shovel snow when I can handle it for you? I provide fast, reliable snow removal, so your driveway and sidewalks stay clear, safe, and stress-free all winter long. Relax, enjoy your morning coffee, and let me do the heavy lifting. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today and make this winter easier, warmer, and worry-free with Buzz Cut Mowing, because nobody likes shoveling snow.
AM 950 would like to thank everyone who joined and donated during our winter membership drive. Your support shows that Minnesotans still value an independent progressive radio station that delivers facts, not spin. AM 950 is locally owned, based right here in the Twin Cities, and dedicated to uplifting small businesses and diverse communities. At a time when some voices are being pushed aside, AM 950 refuses to be silenced. Please help keep progressive radio on the air. Visit am950radio.com and donate today.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat, is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity in styles at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, weekdays at 5 p.m. On our show, you'll hear about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. Weekly correspondents like Dr. Stately, State Senator Mary Kunesh, Robert Lilligren, and Bob Blake update us with the latest news from Turtle Island. Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Listen weekdays at 5 p.m. or watch the show on Native Roots Radio social media accounts. Ho-wah!
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Get back in line, it all takes time. It's just around the corner, better than you could imagine.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Cliff Schechter coming to join us. I will mention now, as we do have the open offer to Bruce Springsteen, if he's still in town, to join us, Cliff. And I'm sure you'll
be Bruce. Come on.
Tom Morello, too, from Rage Against the Machine, is in town.
Oh, my God. That would be so awesome.
Hey, Tom, once again, 212 Valley View Road. That's the radio station out here, the Three Towers there. Come on in. And, yeah, you're more than welcome to. We will make time and clear it out. You can chat with both of us about
You have to remember, Tom, that on this station, you can only go with F you. I won't do what you tell me. Just so you understand that you can't go further than that. I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
There is a lot of fairly spicy protest music coming out right now about Minneapolis.
Yes, there is.
And that's I give a round of applause. Bruce Springsteen, Dury, both have the and also God, who was the guy?
Billy Bragg.
Billy Bragg has got a great one out there too.
That was I mean, one of our other Dana Dubois wrote a piece for us on both songs, and then I wrote one, and it'll come out later on Bruce and just his history, and like it's just that the Streets of Minneapolis one. It's so it so perfectly fits. What he's talked about, what he's done. I love it. So.
You when you talk about this arrest, and one thing I wanted to just once again, I'll post the story the letter that you wrote. I'm going to get that out there too, because once again, this is an attempt to start. They're starting to poke to see what the limits are, what they can do to take over these elections, and whether it's Fulton County or whether it's the arrest of a politician in Minnesota. This is the beginning of it. You see what they're doing with ICE on the streets. But I also want to make sure I point out, and this is kind of something in my realm that I talk about, because I do talk about the fact that I am a Christian, and I go to a lovely Lutheran church. It's loving, caring, welcome, compassion. That's the religion I grew up with, and I see this religion that's out there that's being weaponized by the right, and I find it once again somewhat bizarre that you have a protest at a church where it didn't stop the service. It delayed it for like 5 minutes. They still had plenty of time to pass the offertory plate around. Everyone, and it continued. That's apparently the crime of the century. But Renee Good and Alex Preddy,
right. They're not looking at those two because why would you investigate that? Why would you investigate a man shot 10 times after you pulled the gun away from him? Who was just trying to shield a woman from pepper spray. Yeah. I mean, I honestly do not think there could be a worse crime committed than the one they committed against Alex Preddy. They should honestly all be in prison for the rest of their damn lives and never see the light of day again. And it's amazing. But yes, somebody came in and made some noise during a church service, I mean, it doesn't matter. And this is, again, I said something about this earlier when I was talking with some members of my team and whatever. This is why you never do the Merrick Garland thing, and you never do the other folks said these kinds of things, which is to say, well, we don't want it to look bad. We don't want to look partisan. We're not going to do that because if we do, Republicans might do. And I just get so tired of saying they will do it anyhow. What is your problem? Yes. What party have you? I started bringing up Mitch McConnell earlier. I was going to go back to Tom DeLay and Newt Gingrich. What party have you been looking at for 30 years? Okay, they've had elements. It just the whole party hadn't been taken over by criminals yet. But Newt Gingrich was charged with a bunch of crimes, certainly civil ones. Tom DeLay got, he got convicted. He got thrown out on a technicality. These are criminals. And there are plenty of other ones. Remember Duke Cunningham, the Dukester, the boat he bought with campaign contributions? I mean, it's not to say there haven't been any Anthony Wieners in the Democratic Party, but I promise you, if you sit there and do a side-by-side comparison, you will find about an 85 to 15 of which party. And that's because the culture of the Republican Party came to worship, as you're talking about, Matt, not the actual New Testament. You know, the one where Jesus turned the other cheek, and he felt that it was important to sit with lepers, and that whole weird thing about, it being tougher for a wealthy person to get to heaven than get through the eye of a camel or what? It was pretty clear what the ideology was there, and they, for their own purposes, have taken this thing and lied about it and turned it into this is supply side AR-15 Jesus. I mean, that's who it doesn't represent the figure that appears in the book. And so I went to again, I'm not religious at all in any sense. My background is Jewish, but I went to an Episcopalian school for 10 years in New York that celebrated all the social justice aspects of Christianity. And I think that stuff is wonderful. But these people don't look at that, and their ideology is more of a, hey, we're Genghis Khan, but let's slap Christianity on it. That's what they are. Again, I mean, it's amazing to me. It's every one of you who voted for these people. You can try to hide your heads in shame now. You can do whatever. You own this. You own all of this. International illegality, World War III almost over Greenland. I mean, it is just it's ridiculous, and you may want to question your critical thinking skills for the better part of the next 20 years if you voted for this guy.
I want to finish up here by saying a thank you to you and to the other people at Blue Amp and a lot of people that have reached out. I showed you a picture of Nicollet Avenue where Preddy was killed.
You drove me around these areas when I was there for the Sexy Liberal, when I got to perform in that thing, and it breaks my heart because you helped me get to know some of these areas and to see them and recognize what was going on. I mean, what a beautiful, I can't say enough things about, I've often said this before, and, I'm on air now, so you won't believe me because you'll think I'm just saying it because of you. But to my wife, to other people, Minneapolis is one of the most beautiful cities in this country. It is a beautiful, welcoming, wonderful city with a great mixture of population. Yeah. Somalis, folks who've immigrated there, who've added a lot to the city and have been awesome, as well as everything else about that town. And what these bastards are doing to it, it makes me want to say things that I'd better not say on your show.
Here, it is wild to be down in places that I've been in a million times and see it with the jackbooted thugs and tear gassed. But I will say today, after Springsteen and Morello played over at First Avenue, it sounds like even a bigger protest in downtown Minneapolis today that is going on. So there is hope out there. The hope you can find with Blue Amp, I can't tell you enough. It is an absolute gem of a network there. You're going to find good content like Cliff and other people there. Link to it. Follow it, be there. Cliff Schechter, my amigo, I can't wait for you to have you back up here again. Please do come back.
I will make it up there, I promise. And just anybody from MAGA out there, by the way, Strand is a bookstore. Those are things you read. I just want to make sure you know. Okay, I'm done.
Chicago, Seattle, I'll talk to you next week. Minneapolis, St. Paul, bam, I'll talk to you next hour.
Hey, this is Andy Otto, Executive Director of Twin Cities Pride and your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified. Our community needs your help. Twin Cities Pride is collecting donations to help our local community in need. We're collecting everything from shelf-stable food to household cleaning supplies, infant care items, and personal care products at our Pride Cultural Arts Center. If you're looking to help, reach out to us at info@tcpride.org or just stop by 1201 Harmon Place in Minneapolis. It's our time to take care of our community and take care of each other all year long.
Uncover the rich history of Minnesota through Whoosh, a lively and deeply moving ghost tale. Solo artist Andrew Erskine Wheeler masterfully brings to life a range of characters, intertwining the rich history of St. Anthony Falls in the post-Civil War era with the story of its Irish heritage. This award-winning show weaves a hauntingly local and unforgettable ghost story through compelling song and storytelling. The History Theater's Whoosh plays January 29th through February 22nd. Find tickets at historytheater.com.
Hi, Matt McNeil here. You're listening to the best progressive radio in Minnesota. It's AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The Justice Department's releasing more from its Jeffrey Epstein files. Saka Magani reports it comes
under a law intended to show what the government knew about Epstein's actions. The department says it's putting out 3 million pages of documents, plus thousands of images and videos.
Today's release marks the end of a very comprehensive document identification and review process to ensure transparency to the American people.
Though Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche acknowledges it may not be enough for many.
There's a hunger or a thirst for information that I do not think will be satisfied by the review of these documents.
There's been intense public speculation about what information the government had about Epstein's dealings with the rich and powerful, including Donald Trump, and whether it would hold back incriminating material. Blanche says it's not.
We did not protect President Trump. We didn't protect or not protect anybody.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
President Trump's nominating Kevin Warsh to be the next chair of the Federal Reserve. Reporters asked the president whether Warsh committed to lowering interest rates before he was chosen.
No, but we talk about it, and I've been following him, and I don't want to ask him that question. I think it's inappropriate, probably would be allowed, but I want to keep it nice and pure. But he certainly wants to cut rates. I've been watching him for a long time.
Senator Elizabeth Warren, wary.
Kevin Warsh has already stood up in public as part of his tryout for attracting Donald Trump's attention and just claimed that up is down, in is out, black is white. He doesn't care. He wants to say whatever Donald Trump wants him to say. He needs to show some independence. So far, all he has done is shown that he would be an excellent sock puppet for Donald Trump.
Stocks fell on the news. The S&P and the Dow each lost about 0.4%, the NASDAQ 0.9%. For the week, the S&P was up, the Dow and the NASDAQ down. This is AP News.
Okay, get this. Now at Wendy's, you get to go biggie with new Biggie deals. That means going biggie with a $4 Biggie Bites, biggier with a $6 Biggie Bag, or biggiest with an $8 Biggie Bundle. So now you can choose and customize your Biggie deal. As you should. Sorry, I get fired up when I'm talking deals. More Biggie options so you can get more of what you really want at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Pretty much everybody I talk to is ready to leave 2025 behind. So what better way to do that than quite literally have Zero Res come over and clean that 2025 dirt out of the house. Pretty much any surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and so much more. Zero Res can take care of it all, so it's time to call the cleaning pros. Start your freshest year yet in 2026 with Zero Res's biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year, and wash 2025 right out of your home with this deal. This month you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 and a free hallway plus 15% off regularly priced services like air ducts, upholstery, area rugs, tile, hardwood, and more. Call 9520-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Backorder forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Get ready to zoom into a world full of color, música, and alegría at Children's Theater Company. Go Da Go, Ve Pero Ve is a bilingual musical bursting with playful, high-speed energy as dogs drive, swim, and race to the big dog party. This joyful espectáculo blends English y Espanol with expressive physical storytelling. Go Da Go is sure to have you laughing, moving, and howling with delight. On stage January 20th through February 22nd. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 10, tonight clear with a low of 3 below, and Saturday sunny with a high around 17. Discover the pizza and wine bar at Cafe Latte. It features an extensive menu of gourmet pizzas paired perfectly with an approachable wine list of more than 30 selections by the glass. Quality is key, so you'll never find artificial additives. Find Cafe Latte off Victoria and Grand or more at cafelatte.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here. Nice to have you with us, first of all, on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, and on BAM, Blue Amp Media, blueamp.co on Substack, blueamp.co on Substack. I want to thank all the people on Blue Amp's YouTube page watching right now. Hello. And the person on Twitch. Hello. Thanks for watching. All there. Plus, what we got going on here? It's a fine little shindig over here on the live on the Blue Amp there with 409 people watching us. Hello, good to have you all with us here today. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I did want to make sure I mention. Apparently, a judge has indeed ordered the release of Georgia Fort, the independent journalist who was arrested this morning. The U.S. government, Pam Bondi was saying that she needed to, her allegations that constitute a crime of violence that necessitated keeping her detained. They kind of laughed at that. And so that she's been released. But I did want to make sure I mention, obviously, something that I referred to with Cliff, that we had, a pretty big, visit today. At First Avenue, they had a fundraiser, an event, which was sold out at First Avenue. Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, some of these other bands that came in to show support for Minneapolis, St. Paul, Renee Good, Alex Preddy. And he said, we're going to have a very special guest. And it wasn't until that Springsteen announced he had a song, Streets of Minneapolis, that was out, that people started saying, because they've done political fundraisers and awareness campaigns together in the past, concerts together. And people started saying, is Bruce going to show up? Well, indeed, Bruce Springsteen did show up and was at First Avenue. The first time he ever was at First Avenue. And which, by the way, they're going to, they're going to run over to, you get one of the stars, I'm going to guess, with the Bruce Springsteen on it pretty quick at this point because he's played the stage. And if Morello's not up there, he's definitely going to be up there too. But the Streets of Minneapolis, that song is now the #1 song in 19 countries. Paul Nyland sent me an email. Now, if you don't know who Paul Nyland is, Paul is the journalist we talked to in Ukraine. He's in Kyiv. And we have talked to him over the years during this war to see how things are going over there. And the holiday edition of the interview that I did with him just past this December. And you can find them, by the way, if you go to our SoundCloud page or if you type in Paul Nyland, Niland, if you type in his name on any podcast, you'll find the interview that we did for Christmas this year, where he talked about getting hit by a freaking drone in his apartment complex, which is crazy. He reached out to see how I was doing. He's in war-torn Ukraine. His city is under constant threat, and he is worried about us. That it tells you the rest of the world, and I can tell you, my friends in Ireland, who I adore dearly, they are constantly checking in on me, seeing if I'm okay. And worried because they're saying because as the Europeans go, they kind of seen this stuff before, and it's not all of a sudden one day fascism. It kind of rolls in like this, and it should be noted. Tom Homan and Trump, who said, "Oh, we're going to start drawing down," they're not drawing down. As a matter of fact, I think this morning the fact that they started arresting journalists and politicians tells you where they're at exactly. They're not drawing down the forces. They're out in force. They're out attacking the people still today. First of all, to my friends in Ukraine, you are some of the bravest human beings I've ever seen in my life. And reminder that no one gave you a chance when this incursion into your sovereign territory by the evil jackass that's Vladimir Putin in Russia. No one gave you a chance. You guys have been out there, and you are some of the bravest damn soldiers I've ever seen. And I salute you, and I love you. You guys are an inspiration, absolutely, as you should be. And Russia, get the F out of Ukraine. There's your peace plan. Go home. It is humbling. And I think I speak for a lot of people in the city that to see everyone focused here. But until the Republican Party realizes that the child rapist that they have supported for so many years is really not the crown prince they think he is, this is not going to end. Because and Cliff and I think we nailed it. He is so afraid of being held accountable that he will do everything, and that Supreme Court will go along with it. We need the Republican Party today to do their damn job and hold him accountable. And for God's sakes, I can't even wrap my head around the concept of the Epstein files that were released today. How in the hell are you not turning on this guy? Yeah. Tell you what, let's run some calls. I don't do this that often there. David's in Bloomington, wanted to chime in. Welcome on in, David.
Yeah, hi. I, like you, am a veteran. And yesterday I went out to the VA hospital for a routine appointment. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to hopefully visit any kind of remembrance area that they had set up for Alec Petit. And when I got out there, I walked all over the place, couldn't find anything. So I finally found one of the docents, or whatever they call them, the folks that help people find things, and got to talking to them. And they told me that they had earlier in the week had pictures of him up in the atrium area there in the main area. And apparently a number of veterans, I don't know if it's a large number, I hope it was small, apparently made quite a stink about it because he was not a veteran. They didn't think they should have something like that up. And apparently it became quite loud, quite obnoxious, to the point of being abusive. And after that happened, apparently the management of the VA decided to have it taken down and removed. Apparently they did, I've been told they did move some of it up to the ICU area where he had worked. But of course, that's a much less public area.
Mm-hmm.
The person that I talked to there said it was pretty clear that the people who made the stink were probably MAGA
and
veterans who were trying to make a point out of making a stink out of it.
David, first of all, I appreciate your service. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the phone call. My guess would be too. And by the way, can I just say this? So if you have a business and you have somebody who has tragically lost their life in a very sudden manner, of course, every business, even if it wasn't, if it was a school or something like that, of course you'd put a picture of a teacher or something like that up there. I think we see what you're doing. We're seeing what you're doing. And I get it. You are inundated with a never-ending list of foreign troll accounts on your social media and right-wing purchased news to believe that Alex Preddy was a villain. He wasn't. I want to remind you what you're defending when you defend what happened to him. After he was killed, ICE agents cut off his clothes and counted the bullet holes and laughed and taunted the other people that were witnessing it. If you're a veteran, I'm a veteran. You know what that is? If that was a combat zone, that would be a war crime. That would be a war crime. So any veteran out there, MAGA or not, you applauding a war crime is disgusting. Just because the child rapist that you voted for is your true God. Stop it. 952-946-6205. Jeff is in Cambridge, Minnesota. Welcome on in, Jeff.
Hi, Matt. I started calling you about 10 years ago as Jeff from St. Louis Park. Now I'm Jeff from Cambridge.
Okay.
I never thought I'd have to be this involved in politics. I'm a leader at my local Indivisible group. We have 700 members on Facebook. Tomorrow I'm going down to an elementary school where Liam, the kid with the Spider-Man backpack, was kidnapped from. I went there 60 years ago as a fourth grader. And I just can't believe we're in this world where I feel like I have to do that.
Well, first of all, good for you to go down there and help protect kids. Thank you very much for doing that. And trust me when I say this, and Jeff, I appreciate the phone calls over the years, that's for sure. This is the world we're in right now. This is the world. You have a president who thinks using children as bait is hilarious. By the way, the update on Liam was not good. He is having a lot of problems down there in this holding cell. They are holding him down in Texas. These are dark days, man. And once again, anyone thinking that the Trump administration is really pulling back is a fool. They're not. This is going to get worse and worse and worse. Until the Republican Party says, well, maybe, I don't know, how many do you think it will take? How many bodies do you think it will take for the Republicans to finally say, you know, they opened fire on an armed crowd of civilians from 100 yards away and killed 50 people. You know, we can agree to disagree on this one. I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. What will it take for them? Just disgusting. It is just disgusting. I appreciate the people reaching out. I appreciate Bruce Springsteen, Tom Morello. I appreciate Billy Bragg and Dury and these people that are putting out things. We have to keep fighting back. And we fight back by standing up to the bully and saying, you know, you can't push us anymore. Reminder. Anytime you go out the door, reminder, have your phone with you, have it charged, and anytime you see an ICE agent, record. Because let's face it, that's what's bringing them to their knees is the truth. And it's amazing how many Republicans are like, I refuse to see the empirical evidence that disqualifies my, imbecilic argument. Well, you are a Republican. Once again, if you read any of the things that Trump did in the Epstein files, the fact that you guys are not throwing him to the curb right now is truly disturbing how lost and broken the Republican soul of this country is. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Friday.
Theater in the Round Players is kicking off the year with a beautiful new production of How to Catch Creation. It's a soulful drama centered on the powerful legacy of a Black feminist writer from the 1960s. Her story reaches across time, weaving together the lives of 4 artists searching for art, family, and a place to belong. You'll be captivated by this profound exploration of identity. Experience How to Catch Creation at Theater in the Round now through February 8th. Tickets at theaterintheround.org.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Crooners is a classic supper club with a wide range of entertainment. Make your reservations for a parade of international, national, and local artists in the main stage showroom, the intimate Dunsmore Jazz Room, or outdoors at the seasonal Belvedere Under the Stars space. Or enjoy Maggie's Piano Lounge. Enjoy 4-star food and drinks with first-class supper club service. What are you waiting for? Go to croonersmn.com for more information and schedule. That's croonersmn.com.
I'm Beth Thompson, owner of Big Hill Books. Our fans call us the happiest bookstore in the Twin Cities. And honestly, we take that seriously. When the news gets grim, we choose joy. When things get dark, we read. So come meet Gigi the shop dog, our 2 feline co-workers, and maybe find your next favorite book. We're at 405 Penn Avenue South in Bryn Mawr, or bighillbooks.com. Say you heard about us on AM 950. We can't wait to meet you.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, our job is to help you find a place for fire. Our displays include over 180 models in diverse styles, and we have over 35 burning displays. Come and experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Some say there are only 2 seasons in Minnesota, road construction and winter. Hi, this is Laura, and I agree there are 2 seasons in Minnesota, summer and fireplace season. I bought my wood stove for Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces in 2005, and every season after summer comes the time when we fire up the wood stove, get out our favorite music, and discover the warmth of fire. Our dog Pumpkin remembers the fire too. He stations himself right there, legs up in the air, just enjoying the warmth of the fire. With the wood stove, we are able to keep the main area of the house toasty warm, while the thermostat is set at an energy-efficient 64 degrees. Discover your fireplace season. Visit Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces today.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Go girls, go, 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 go. We girls gonna take control. You boys better know, no, no. We girls gonna run this show.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. A little more on Springsteen. He arrived to a raucous cheers before playing Streets of Minneapolis solo on the stage. Then he played Ghost of Tom Joad with Morello's band. Then at the end of the set, because they did this was like a noon to 2 event over at First Avenue. Springsteen and Morello announced they were leading the crowd into the streets with Prince's Let's Go Crazy played. Morello started his set with the iconic rage protest anthem Killing in the Name, with the First Avenue crowd chanting, well, I can't say that. Blank you, I won't do what you tell me. Thank you for welcoming me to the Battle of Minneapolis, Morello said. My friends, if it looks like fascism, sounds like fascism, acts like fascism, dresses like fascism, talks like fascism, kills like fascism, and lies like fascism, brothers and sisters, it's blanking fascism. Get that on a t-shirt immediately. I'll buy one. Yeah. Like I said, I'm glad they're here. I'm glad people are still focused. I'm glad people are still angry. I think they're hoping that they can kind of push this out of the news cycle and it will go away. I will say that I want to take a reminder here, because I had someone call up and say to me that, make sure we remind people that you can start this by basically voting every freaking Minnesota House Republican out of office, because the whole thing, where we're at today, was started by the Minnesota House Republicans when they brought in the mama's boy from Utah, Nick Shirley, and David, that mysterious dude, to go do a racist hit piece on the Somali community. Intentionally racist. As a matter of fact, they probably high-fived and chuckled all the way they could. And they clearly were involved in this being done. I mean, one of their aides at the state capitol apparently emailed all the locations and daycares they were supposed to go after, attack. And once again, I'm going to repeat my claim. Nick Shirley tried to force his way into daycares where children were to photograph them without parental consent. How in the F is this guy not charged with a child endangerment crime? Because once again, if I took a Somali man and I went out into rural Minnesota and brought him to a daycare and he tried to force his way in with a camera to film kids, I guarantee you he wouldn't even make it out of the parking lot. He would be killed instantly as a deranged psychopath. But Nick Shirley does it repeatedly in Minneapolis, and we still have not filed charges against him. Filed charges against him. He deserves to go to jail. Anyway, the Republicans, we do have an ability here to really take care of business here in the state and turn this into such a Democratic blue state that it's the Republicans would never even think about doing something as stupid as what they've done to this state ever again. So make sure you get out and vote. And we got caucuses coming up here on Tuesday. This is Alex Pleshosh, the chairman of the Minnesota GOP. Renee Good and Alex Preddy both put themselves in this situation. I'm not saying they deserve to be killed, but they put themselves in this situation. He says gun owners like Preddy have an extra responsibility in public to avoid volatile situations. If he wasn't doing what he should have been doing, he still would be alive, Pleshosh says. So once again, I want to remind people, there isn't a single damn Republican that if this was Joe Biden's presidency and a gun owner was at a protest screaming in the face of a government official, and the government official just merely said, "Oh, please step back," you'd be like, you can't stop the gun owners. Gun owners have a right to have gun. I mean, my God, this is quite literally what all of you in the GOP had been screaming about for decades. You're going to have a licensed gun owner who's going to basically be ordered to disarm or disarmed and then gunned down in the streets. And it happens, and the first words out of your mouth is, well, he deserved it. Or maybe not he deserved it. Or, he had a responsibility as the gun owner to run away. You guys are clowns. And I want to remind you, the ICE agents, after they killed Alex Preddy, cut off his clothes and counted the bullet holes and laughed like he was a deer. The woman who seems to be the point person for why this all started to happen, the House Speaker, Lisa Demuth, said she respects Bureau of Criminal Apprehension Superintendent Drew Evans. That's the local guys that want to do the investigation who have been locked out by the federal government. And predicted the state and federal authorities would come to an agreement so that the state could investigate the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy in South Minneapolis. She declined to comment on Trump calling Preddy an agitator, saying she did not want to insert her opinion before the killing is fully investigated. Oh, really, Lisa? Oh, you didn't seem to have that problem when you were going to do that racist hit piece on the Somali community. You didn't have any problem going with an agenda then, which brought on this entire thing. You're responsible for Renee Good and Alex Preddy being dead. Damn right you are. At what point did you think you could put that video, that racist, lie-filled video from the mama's boy from Utah in front of the president and have some sort of control over the monster? Jeez. It is wildly unbelievable where we're at right now. And the hypocrisy of the right is just crazy. I was mentioning with Cliff, okay, your whole argument is the reason why you're arresting journalists and politicians now is you're saying that the greatest crime in the history of this country wasn't you know, the mistreatment of the Native Americans, slavery, the assassination of Lincoln, any of these things, none of that was bad. But a church service got interrupted for 5 minutes. And it's on such shaky legal footing that no attorney wanted to bring charges against most of these guys. They don't even think it's even possible they'll get laughed out of court before the trial even starts. You are so upset that a church service got delayed by 5 minutes. And like I said, 5 minutes, you still put the collection plate out. You still had that. Don't worry, collections will still happen at the church. It wasn't a major problem. The representatives of City's Church, where this happened in St. Paul, where the anti-ICE demonstration took place, praised the latest arrests of journalists. We are grateful the Department of Justice acted swiftly to protect City's Church so that we continue to faithfully live out in the church's mission to worship Jesus and make him known. Wait. Once again, as a Christian, you have a pastor who is an ICE agent. How? I mean, pick a lane. The Gospel of Matthew, and I get it. And trust me, I've talked to enough Republicans disguised as Christians in my life to where I know, well, the Gospels are nice and all, but you need to pay attention to Romans or Proverbs or Leviticus or Exodus or Revelations. Okay, you are Christians by your own account. The first 6 letters of Christianity are Christ. Shouldn't the 4 books of the Bible that describe Christ's life and direct teachings matter to you? Because they sure as heck don't matter to any Republican I know now. Not today. Well, MAGA Republican for sure. But I mean, okay, fine. And like I said, I wouldn't have done this protest. I wouldn't have. But as far as impact goes, as far as, they didn't burn the church down. They did not stop this and run everyone out and say no more church today. They didn't do anything. They protested for 5 minutes and you were able to finish out your service. Attorneys who represent the church are expressing a similar sentiment. Freedom to worship God without fear of violence and intimidation is a fundamental right that defines who we are as America. Oh, violence and intimidation, you say? Well, okay. You have one of your pastors associated with an organization that has been part of the murder of 2, by all accounts, devout Christians. Renee Good and Alex Preddy were both described as regular churchgoers, people with faith. But that doesn't matter. That kind of faith, we can smudge those lines, I guess. Or the 100 religious leaders, many of whom were Christian, who were openly praying in a public area at Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport when they were rounded up. Christian leaders praying in public, being rounded up by authorities? Oh, but that kind of violation of their Christian faith, that's okay. Or the numerous Christians who have been rounded up by your jackbooted thugs and thrown into your Gestapos, including young children who are Christians. That kind of violation of Christians is okie dokie. But a 5-minute delay in a church service. This is why I have very little faith in any of this. And especially, it tells me a lot about who the real God is when a religion that tells you to forgive and forget. Well, I guess that must be one of those books that you toss to the side. I'm guessing that. Because, yeah. It does actually quite infuriate me as a Christian to see what Republicans have turned Christianity into. It's I get it. For 1 hour once a week, you guys act like I'm so pious. And then basically you go back to jail them all, kill them, more bodies in Minneapolis. Now, I'm not saying anyone specifically said that. I'm just making a general assertion. But I just don't get that about you guys on the right, man. Oh, there's tons of people on the right who have crosses in their bios on social media who are talking about murder more people in Minneapolis. Trust me, when this is all done and you leave this mortal earth, it will be a shock. I'll save the surprise. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Hey, it's Beth from Big Hill Books. Yes, the happiest bookstore in the Twin Cities. When the world feels too serious, we say grab a book, pet a cat, and let Gigi the shop dog remind you joy still exists. Because reading and smiling are both acts of resistance. Find us at 405 Penn Avenue South in the lovely Bryn Mawr neighborhood. Or visit bighillbooks.com. Be sure to say hello and tell the gang you heard about us on AM 950.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Pretty much everybody I talk to is ready to leave 2025 behind. So what better way to do that than quite literally have Zero Res come over and clean that 2025 dirt out of the house. Pretty much any surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and so much more. Zero Res can take care of it all, so it's time to call the cleaning pros. Start your freshest year yet in 2026 with Zero Res's biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year, and wash 2025 right out of your home with this deal. This month, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 and a free hallway, plus 15% off regularly priced services like air ducts, upholstery, area rugs, tile, hardwood, and more. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Hey, Francois, have you made any New Year's resolutions?
Non.
Well, mine is to learn some French. Can you help me?
Bien sûr.
How do you say this? Can I buy you?
Est-ce que je peux t'acheter
Macaroons from Nicolette's.
des macarons de Nicolette's?
Now, say it all at once.
Est-ce que je peux t'acheter des macarons de Nicolette's?
Oh, absolutely. I'll have a box of raspberry rose, blueberry cheesecake, and chocolate.
Mais c'est quoi ça?
Thank you, Francois. You can order them online at nicoletsmacaroons.com or visit their store in Plymouth. Merci.
Uncover the rich history of Minnesota through Whoosh, a lively and deeply moving ghost tale. Solo artist Andrew Erskine Wheeler masterfully brings to life a range of characters, intertwining the rich history of St. Anthony Falls in the post-Civil War era with the story of his Irish heritage. This award-winning show weaves a hauntingly local and unforgettable ghost story through compelling song and storytelling. The History Theater's Whoosh plays January 29th through February 22nd. Find tickets at historytheater.com. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hey, this is Andy Otto, Executive Director of Twin Cities Pride and your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified. Our community needs your help. Twin Cities Pride is collecting donations to help our local community in need. We're collecting everything from shelf-stable food, household cleaning supplies, infant care items, and personal care products at our Pride Cultural Arts Center. If you're looking to help, reach out to us at info@tcpride.org or just stop by 1201 Harmon Place in Minneapolis. It's our time to take care of our community and take care of each other all year long.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low of 3 below, Saturday sunny with a high near 17, and Sunday some light snow with a high around 29. Experience a gourmet dining destination at Cafe Latte. Their ever-changing menu of award-winning salad, sandwiches, and soups ensures you'll always find something to love. Because ingredients matter, Cafe Latte never uses artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. Visit them on Victoria and Grand. More at cafelatte.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show, broadcasting on the Blue Amp Media Network, as well as on AM 950. And no, by the way, I'm just going to, for everyone out there, it's like, I don't engage in trolls. Why? They have the vast majority. All they're doing is they're trying to come onto this show and spew stupidity. And you know what? I care about you too much. You don't need to hear them. I don't need to hear them. They're not worth your time. They're not worth my time. And scene. You're afraid to engage. No. I'm not afraid to engage with you. I just rather not. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. I could care less about you. You know, I'm sorry your life is so pathetic and weak and empty. I am. I really am. because I actually have a pretty good life. I'm happy with a lot of my things in my life. You basically sitting there saying, I gotta hate the thing, is just, you know what? I'll just let that stand by itself. And good luck with all that. Good luck with all that. 952-946-6205. Reminder that Republicans are furious about fraud. Furious about fraud. Furious about fraud. Well, then, I'm sure they're not going to want to hear this. Or has any Republican said anything about this fraud? Because there's another group of people that frauded the state out of some things, or allegedly, I should say allegedly, defrauded the state out of some things. And it's run by, I think this is a kind of a right-wing group, this business. It's Walzer Auto Group is the business. One of Minnesota's largest car dealers allegedly participated in an elaborate criminal scheme to avoid paying at least $350,000 and $745 in state sales taxes. Well, I mean, I'm going to tell you the truth. If they were a Somali person, boy, would the Republicans be furious right now. What? They don't care? Okay. The state of Minnesota alleges that Dyna-based Walzer and one of its subsidiaries worked with an Orono auto broker to purchase new cars through shell companies in Montana and then sell them as used vehicles, evading taxation in the process. Family-owned Walzer operates 16 vehicle dealerships in the metro area under an array of brands. They also offer several dealerships in Kansas. And Walzer Automotive, Walzer Pre-Owned Sales, and William F. Ward of Orono were charged on January 27th with felony tax evasion in Hennepin County District Court. The alleged scheme involved 34 vehicle transactions made from March 9th, 2020 through August 2023. Really? Only 34? Okay. I'm sure they're looking at the rest of them now. I'm just going to say. But Walzer put out there, we have not been provided a copy of the complaint, so we cannot speak of the details at the time. We do not believe we did anything inappropriate, and we will be prepared to share those facts in court. We've built our business in Minnesota over the past blah, 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 blah. Anyway, according to the complaint filed by the state of Minnesota, Ward worked under contract with Walzer Automotive to buy and sell high-end vehicles. Walzer provided the money and some of operational functions such as filling out paperwork and storing vehicles for transactions made by Ward. Some of the vehicles obtained by Ward were registered in Montana. Their titles put in the name of a Montana limited liability company that existed in paper only. Montana does not have a motor vehicle sales tax. Using a Montana limited liability company and a registered vehicles in its name is a well-established tax evasion scheme. Ward would buy cars, initially ask sellers to put the title in the name of the Walzer Investments, which Ward owned. Then the Walzer formed Green Hornet Holdings to buy cars that Ward had brokered. The Montana companies would assign a vehicle title to the Walzer Pre-Owned, which would then turn it to sell it to a buyer Ward had lined up. Walzer and Ward would split profits evenly from the sales. The complaint alleges that new vehicles were sold as used vehicles through Walzer Pre-Owned. Under Minnesota law, a licensed used car dealer owes sales tax on any new car it buys. But the vehicles weren't used, therefore Walzer Pre-Owned was not entitled to buy them tax-free and sell them under its used car license, the complaint said. The complaint said that, they're going to throw this Ward guy under the bus for sure. I have zero doubt about that. The complaint said that Ward and several Walzer's officers and staff members denied that they used a Montana company to evade Minnesota sales taxes. Well, maybe they've got them all kind of dead to rights, allegedly. They denied knowing that under Minnesota law, a new car must be placed in actual operation before it's considered used. Wait a second here. This is your excuse. You're going to say, as a car dealer who's got a lot of car dealerships, that you didn't know the laws of the state of Minnesota in regards to what would constitute a new car and a used car? Dun, 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 tap dancing. Dun, dun, dun. I just saying I like tap dancing. Oh, it's one of my favorite types of dancing. Oh, I just a random thought process. I do love a good tap dance. Walter Prios was charged with selling new vehicles without proper license, a misdemeanor. Ward was also charged with brokering vehicles without broker's license, also a misdemeanor. Now, I'm going to just say this, that as is Lisa Damuth going to hire some mama's boy to come in here with a video crew and try to force their way into the Walzer dealerships to see if they're committing fraud? Because that's the allegation here. And they can't, and before they say, well, this is a private, no, the daycares were private businesses. This is defrauding the state, which you say is a bad thing. Right? You sit there and say, this is horrible and this is bad, that we have to stop this, that we have to go after an entire community because we are so against fraud. And here is one where I do believe a lot of the people there do support the Republican Party, where the allegation is, what was it, $300,000? That's not a little bit of money. $350,000. That's $350K of state. That's fraud. Boy, oh boy. I'm sure you guys are just, when's Lisa Damuth going to have the press conference? Furious at this. Not at all. They're not going to care at all. None of them want to make a comment about this at all because this kind of fraud's okay with them. They're perfectly fine with this kind of fraud, that this fraud can happen. If it does happen, it's alleged. But if this kind of fraud does happen, that it's perfectly fine, well, then it really is just about race, isn't it? So let's start the clock, shall we? For any Republican, how long does it take for any Republican to comment and say, if this is true, once again, allegations, to say, if this is true, I am, as much as I'm upset about fraud, I am not only upset when people are abusing the social safety net programs, but not paying their fair share of taxes. So if this is true, I am just as upset about this. Let's start the clock ticking on how long it takes a Republican to actually say this kind of fraud is bad. How long do you think it will take? Will we talk ever? I'll tell you what, I got where's the little, what's the timer app here? They're so upset about this. I got to believe that there we go. Stopwatch started. There we go. Got the stop. Oh, sorry. We're just wait here. The phone lines, by the way, Republican politicians, if you want to call in, 952-946-6205. You guys are so furious about fraud. I'm scrambling. That phone number, once again, 952-946-6205. So yeah, I mean, 20 seconds in. Any calls so far, Brett?
I'm looking. No.
All right. Dun, dun, dun. I'm sure they're going to be any second now, because this is someone here. The allegation.
Well, we are on that 6-second delay, so maybe they're waiting to hear you and then call it. What? Nope, still not.
All right. The allegation is $350K. That's a lot of money. And that's just the allegation. And that's just the ones that they kind of got in this case. It doesn't really necessarily show how many others. It'd be interesting to see what this fraudulent company in Montana, how many cars they have actually listed as being sold. I mean, we'd have to go through the paperwork there and all that stuff. But needless to say, it's at least $350K is what they're talking about. So I'm sure any day now, any second now, they're just as angry as they are. I mean, my God, the spittle is flying out of their mouths. The veins in their foreheads are bulging. They're turned red, smacking on podiums, talking about abuse and waste. Well, here you go. You can show us you're at least consistent. I'm going to let this keep rolling for a while. I have a feeling we are not going to hear from them. I do not think they are going to make a statement at all. Matter of fact, I think that it's as long as it's like when all that fraud happened with the COVID funds, and it was a whole bunch of white guys in the suburbs. Oh, they had no problem with that fraud. That fraud was perfectly fine with them. As a matter of fact, Matt, you don't understand the complexities of trying to run a business. Sometimes it's hard. I think the fact that they got caught doing it, that the embarrassment is punishment enough. Remember all that? I remember all that. But Somali people, you guys can't stop your racist flag from flying, can you? Apparently Holman's very upset because Minnesotans are not, I just saw this, Minnesotans are not letting them get some food, at least, or as the brilliant Racket MN is a fantastic news outlet. This headline says it all. ICE stands for I can't eat. Apparently Holman has basically said he's upset. He said, remember the other day, he said, I'm not here because the federal government has carried out its mission perfectly. Understatement of the century on that one. He spent a fair chunk of time complaining that Minnesotans aren't treating his gang of masked thugs with the proper respect. Hey, you're number one in my book. Day after day, they can't eat in restaurants. Day after day, having people spit at you and blow whistles at you. Day after day, having all these threats at you. They're human, he whined. And as the Racket said, boo blanking who. I'm with you on that one. I don't know. Why don't you take them home? Maybe they can go get a meal in their own hometown there. Maybe if your masked thugs took their masks off, stopped abusing people, killing people in the street, maybe we wouldn't treat them as the villains that they clearly are. I do have to ask this question of you guys on the right. You guys do realize, Bruce Springsteen, Tom Morello, people are making protest music against you. You are mocked and ridiculed by the population. Your religion, whether it's Christianity or not, but your version of Christianity for sure is you have to really turn that Bible into a pamphlet for you to basically be able to say that you're still doing anything Christian. You do guys realize you're the villain here, that when there are bodies starting to pile up in the streets, you're not the good guys. Darth Vader was not the hero of those movies. He was the bad guy in those movies. And I don't know how to tell you this, but if you don't like how we're treating you, go. Go. I don't think that there's a way for you to be able to take the people who are abusing, arresting, beating, using children as bait and killing other people and say, come on, look at the human side of these people. I'm sorry, I can't see it. I don't see humanity at all in these people. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I've got a good protest song for you when we do come on back to wrap up the week. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Greg Bakken here. I'm on a mission with Eat Local Minnesota to take you to some of the best local restaurants serving unforgettable dishes. Maverick's Grill Roast Beef in Roseville is the Twin Cities go-to for mouth-watering roast beef sandwiches, but that's just the beginning. Try their Philly steak, turkey bacon avocado, BLT, crispy chicken, fish brisket, or pulled pork. Every bite is packed with flavor. Don't miss this local favorite. See the full menu at mavericksbeef.com. Your taste buds will thank you. Or how about some sensational Chinese cuisine? Since 1981, the Great Wall has been a Twin Cities favorite for Szechuan and Peking cuisine. Their menu is huge, flavorful, and consistently excellent. My go-to dishes are the sesame chicken, imperial beef, and their famous Peking duck. You'll find the Great Wall at 45th and France with takeout available. Visit greatwallrestaurant.us. These are just a couple of great restaurants Minnesota has to offer. I'll be sharing more with you soon. And remember, when you eat local, Minnesota.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat, is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity and styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
At Schroman Law, we provide more than just legal documents. We walk alongside our clients to ensure their wishes and legacies are being honored with every choice. And we do this while recognizing that this process can be emotional and weighty. Our team includes attorneys, as well as a grief coach and a published writer ready to assist with legacy letters and extra wishes to go alongside your healthcare directive. Contact us today to learn more at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Winter reading, losing yourself under a blanket with the fireplace blazing away while submerging yourself in a book and trying to finish just one more page? Winter nights are the perfect time to read, and that's where Next Chapter Booksellers can help. They're independently owned and have all the bestsellers and new releases. Not sure what to get? Their friendly booksellers are great at recommendations. That's your winter reading headquarters. Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. I will say, just some news updates. Of course, there is a huge protest going on downtown right now. I'm seeing some of the pictures of it. That's what, by the way, when I was showing those photos to Cliff during his interview on that was what I was showing him, was people protesting, a lot of people downtown. It does sound like the judge also released all the people that were arrested this morning to be released and not be held until their trial, like Pam Bondi wanted. So that's a bit of good news as well. And also Bon Iver. He's Eau Claire, isn't he? He's over in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, right? Which is,
I think so,
about an hour east of here. It's a nice town, actually a nice town. I like Eau Claire. He has released now a protest song, and that's what we're kind of get the protest songs, pass them around. The Streets of Minneapolis is fantastic. And once again, I want to say it's the number one song in 19 countries right now. It's the number one song in 19 countries. That tells you a lot about how much of the world is paying attention to what's going on down here. Billy Bragg is, once again, I mentioned he's got a good one out here. But I believe this is this one. There's the local guys, a band called Durry, Durry, brother and sister plus the whole crew. They are an amazing band. I'm a big fan of theirs. They, of course, are part of the local contingent that has put out a protest song. I'm not going to dance because you know what? It's we're protesting. We're not dancing. So, but I'm going to let you hear this on the way on out. It's Durry, I Told You So. Have a good weekend. We will be back here on a Monday. Till then, see ya.
Game we're playing. You say your lines and I'll say mine. We'll end up back where we started. Stiff as a board, we both hold the line. Withered and worn till we're sharp as a knife. But this tug of war's always been one-sided. Someday you're gonna wake up to the future you created. I know that you may change, but I hope I'll never say I told you so. I told you so. Who could have known that your Facebook meme conspiracies were wrong? Who could have seen that the billionaires would be greedy when they're starving out children, gunning down civilians, all at the altar of your new religion? Who could have possibly known that the whole time you were faking? Someday you're gonna wake up in the future you created.
AM 950 would like to thank everyone who joined and donated during our winter membership drive. Your support shows that Minnesotans still